Live at 5, this is 13 News Now.
Just say, look, enough's enough with the punting the decisions down the road. We ought to just stay here in Congress over the weekend, into next week if we need to, and negotiate a final budget deal going forward.
Less than 7 hours, that's how long lawmakers have to reach a deal to fund the federal government. Good evening, I'm David Allen.
And I'm Janet Roach. The entire country is on edge tonight. As the clock ticks, lawmakers are still pointing fingers. Workers fearing that furloughs are coming their way. Local businesses worry about their bottom lines. 13 News Now reporter Mike Gooding is here with what a shutdown could look like for our region.
Well, Janet and David, if it looks anything like it did the last time, it won't be pretty. Not for the affected workers and not for the businesses, which they won't be patronizing.
You're going to see a reduction in contracting, in discretionary spending of every kind.
Retired Navy Rear Admiral Craig Quigley remembers the last shutdown in 2013 and how bad it was for furloughed civil servants. He worries that history is about to repeat itself.
You're not going to go to the movies. You're not going to buy a pizza. You're certainly not going to buy a new car or rent a new apartment or something like that because you don't know what the future holds.
The real fear is that we return to a shutdown like 2013, where we have federal employees and contractors out of work for 2.5 weeks.
ODU economics professor Bob McNabb says that with Hampton Roads so reliant upon federal spending, the spin-off effects will be substantial.
And as the shutdown extends, people start worrying about their rent, their mortgage payments, their car payments, and it really has a detrimental effect on the economy as the shutdown is happening. We estimate the impact could be $30 to $50 million a day if the federal government shuts down.
As for the political posturing, it began this morning with President Trump tweeting, "Democrats want illegal immigrants and weak borders. We need more Republican victories in 2018. CNU political analyst Quentin Kidd says, though, the whole thing might backfire on the president.
Tomorrow is the one-year anniversary of Donald Trump being sworn in as president of the United States. And so what better political jab in the side on the part of Democrats to Donald Trump than to say, on the one-year anniversary of your being sworn in, the government's going to shut down. Look what your presidency has amounted to.
But Republicans, of course, are pushing back. Today, the Republican National Committee emailed out a statement. Spokesman Garen Shipley wrote, "Children in need, our armed forces, and hardworking federal employees are counting on Tim Kaine and Mark Warner to do the right thing. Please, senators, don't let them down." Mike Gooding, 13 News Now.
Well, tonight we are in danger of flashing back to 2013. That's the last time Washington closed and things got pretty ugly in Hampton Roads. 21,000 civil servants were furloughed. It's estimated the 16-day shutdown cost our region $6.3 million in lost income each day.
Local businesses just miles outside of military bases are keeping a close eye on the looming deadline. Some worry their customer base will dwindle. 13 News Now reporter Stephen Graves spoke with two small shops about their concerns. He joins us now in the studio.
Yeah, Janet, some shops we spoke to, well, they say they have no worries that it'll blow over. Others, though, those two shops, one a cleaners, the other a barber shop, well, they said they're preparing because they know a government shutdown will affect business. Chosen Styles and Cut Salon sits 0.2 miles, a 5-minute walk from JEB Little Creek Fort Story, Gate 1.
It's a come from the base on a lunch break.
About 65% of business is military personnel.
We'll accommodate them in any kind of form or fashion we can.
And that thought is on co-owner Jonathan Moyler's mind now more than ever. With a possible government shutdown, it means furloughed non-essential personnel. Government contractors left jobless too. Things like haircuts take a back seat. In turn, income here fades and gets cut.
For the sake of family, bills, and financial stability, they will sacrifice.
And right now, eyes are glued to the news to see what happens next.
Because we don't know how long will this last.
And there's no shortage of military pride at Danilo Absuna's tailoring shop in Norfolk. Less uniforms to take in means usual customers stay out. Absuna says he's more than a business, but a friend in hard times. The uncertain future will be no different.
Although it takes a while, just give them some words of wisdom that could be helpful to them.
Words of wisdom. Well, both shops, like many others, say they already offer military discounts and they'll continue to do that and accommodate. At 6, though, that barbershop has been through that previous shutdown in 2013. Hear what or who got him through that time. Stephen Graves, 13 News Now.
Well, the snow is fading and the temperatures are warming up just in time for the weekend. Here is a live look from our tower cam over downtown Norfolk. And Jeff, for those heading out tonight, what can we all expect?
Well, warmer temperatures than we've seen lately. You'll still want a jacket. You just won't need the hat and the scarves and the gloves and the double scarves, everything else. Maybe a layer of long johns under it because conditions are a lot more improved compared to what they were looking at yesterday. Even right now, we've already started to drop. We've dropped 4 degrees in 1 hour and we're still above normal at 50. Now, remember yesterday we were really, really cold. So some big differences, all because of that wind and the wind directions, specifically out of the southwest. 8 miles per hour. So crystal clear skies out there. And this is a very similar look. Crystal clear skies right now from the Island House restaurant up in Wachapreague. Notice that drop, though, pretty rapid from 50s rapidly to the 40s, and then we start to get down here to these lower numbers. But instead of 30s, remember last night we were talking way down there in the 20s, not nearly as cold tonight, although some inland areas will still be 20s. It just won't be as cold. So even warmer tomorrow. Today was up 19 roughly degrees. Tomorrow and on into the next few days, even more warmth, believe it or not. And no snow in the forecast. I know it only goes out a week, but for at least the next week, I can promise you no snow.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Right now, it's he said, she said in Virginia Beach. Tonight, the city is responding to a lawsuit filed by an angry developer. It's all over the arena deal that fell through at the last minute. That, of course, was back in November. 13 News Now reporter Robert Boyd is live for us outside Virginia Beach City Hall with the city's reaction now to that lawsuit.
Well, David, keep in mind, for almost 5 years, the developer Mid-Atlantic Arena LLC has worked with the city of Virginia Beach to build this 18,000-seat arena down by the ocean front. And many of us thought the next step would be the groundbreaking, but as it turns out, it appears it will be a court ruling. Mid-Atlantic Arena LLC was given a deadline of midnight on November 7th, 2017 to close on a $150 million construction loan. It came down to the final hours. The developer issued this statement on Tuesday. We understood that deadline, and at 10:36 p.m., J.P. Morgan confirmed in writing that the loan was closed. The city sent us a letter very first thing in the morning on November 8th, stating the contract with MAA was terminated. The city released their own statements earlier today. Mid-Atlantic had failed to provide the city with documentation that its investors were committed to providing all of the required equity contribution to the project. Further, Mid-Atlantic had failed to provide a number of other required closing documents, many of which were proposed at the deadline to be deferred until a later date and were never finalized. The developer is now suing the city for $140 million. Mid-Atlantic Arena LLC greatly desired to bring an arena to Virginia Beach, not a lawsuit. But since that is now impossible, we have no choice but to ask the courts to help us recover our significant investment, as well as lost revenue, and rebuild our standing, which has been considerably impaired by the city's breach of contract. The city believes once you add in the extra costs like development fees, the suit is closer to $165 million. The city will vigorously defend this lawsuit. We are confident that the actions taken by the city were in good faith and in full compliance with its contract rights and its obligations to the public. Now, I reached out to attorneys for the developer as well as the Virginia Beach city attorney, but both parties declined to do any sort of recorded interview. Right now, all we're dealing with is statements from both sides. Live in Virginia Beach, Robert Boyd, 13 News Now.
Turning to a live look at the oceanfront from our DQ cam, the city is still deciding what to do with the old dome site. Later this month, you can share your ideas at a workshop. It's set for January 31st from 6 to 8 at the Virginia Beach Convention Center. The original dome site sits on about 10 acres between 18th and 20th Streets. It was torn down in 1994. The city is considering turning it into a live performance venue that would include a surf park.
Amazon and other companies are going to be looking at, do we have the people who can perform the jobs that they create? Where are their kids going to go to school when they come and set up here?
That, of course, is North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper reacting to the news that Raleigh made Amazon's list of contenders for its new headquarters. He thinks the state is the perfect place for Amazon HQ2. If chosen, the move would be a huge boost to North Carolina's economy, bringing some 50,000 jobs and $5 million to the Raleigh area. Also in the running, Northern Virginia. Amazon expects to make a decision in 2018.
A mother will spend 8 years behind bars in connection with her son's death. In June 2015, a state trooper pulled Tanya Slayton's car over on I-64 in Hampton. That trooper, Chad Deermeyer, found the remains of Quincy Davis in Slayton's trunk. Quincy disappeared in 2004 when he was 11 years old. The medical examiner said the cause of death was inconsistent with natural causes. Quincy is believed to have died in 2004 or 2005.